One night in Lumiose City, the bigwigs of Quasarticle Incorporated headed over to the center of the town at Prism Tower, looking for ways to renovate and repair. Lumiose City and the entire Kalos region have already gone through one disaster already. The corporate leaders of Quasarticle Inc. feared there could potentially be another, especially when Prism Tower erupted with weird energy at every corner, prompting AZ to show up on the scene with his beloved black flower floette, emphatically declaring that the strongest Mega Evolution user must be found. Lumiose City is crying out in desperate need of a hero. Look no further. Hi there, this is Sir J.K. Gardelade here to provide another answer to a question that I ask myself. Is it possible to beat Pokemon Legends ZA using only this one Pokemon? The Pokemon that is believed to be the first to Mega Evolve in the Kalos region. Say hello to Lucario, the Aura Pokemon that debuted in Generation 4, the Sinnoh region. Lucario is a fighting and steel dual typing that has a base stat total of 525. Its strongest stat is its special attack by 5 points ahead of its physical attack. It also has solid speed at 90, but once Lucario Mega Evolves, its base stat total goes up 100 points, leaning more on its physical attack. With the release of the Mega Dimension DLC, Lucario got a second Mega Evolution, Mega Lucario Z, but it will not be featured in this run. Can Lucario bring me all the way to the end credits of Pokemon Legends ZA? Let us all find out together. Welcome to this Pokemon Legends ZA solo challenge run, where I will try to beat the game using only Lucario. Believe it or not, that's the first of 3 rules that I set in place for this run. Only using Lucario in battle, which includes Rogue Mega Evolution boss battles and promotion matches. The second rule is I will not allow the use of items during battle like potions and full restores, but held items like Shell Bell, leftovers, and berries are acceptable. And the third rule is to get Lucario all the way to rank A to prove that Lucario is worthy of being the one called as the first Pokemon to Mega Evolve in Kalos. So without any further delay, let's begin the challenge, as I enter my latest journey in Lumiose City as the female avatar with a red head, just like a Pokemon trainer in the Sinnoh region that had Lucario as her ace in Sinnoh fighting gym leader Maylene. I meet up with my rival for this run, Urbane, who gives me the choice of 3 starter Pokemon that will only be picked to determine the course of how the rest of this solo challenge goes. And I went with the fire starter Tepig, considering Lucario's first form Riolu is a fighting type. After surviving day 1 in Lumiose, Urbane makes me a member of Team MZ, and once I gain access to the first Pokemon Center in the Vert District, I was able to bring over from Pokemon Violet via Pokemon Home, freshly hatched from a Riolu egg, this Riolu, which I nicknamed Riley, and it also has a serious nature. From there, it was time for Riolu to go to work as I had Riley knock out any and every Pokemon I could find in Wild Zone 1, catching them to get research points in Professor Mabel's research. That way, once I got up to level 17, Riolu will able to get access to Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, while also getting other noteworthy TMs like Rock Smash, Bulldoze, Shadow Claw, and Protect. Once I got Riolu up to level 10, it was time to start taking on trainers in the ZA Royale. Now that the early game preparations are done, I made it back to Hotel Z to meet up with Urbane. That's when I found out that my first opponent in the ZA Royale is Zach. But in order to face him, I must earn a challenger's ticket. So Riley and I went to work, taking down 5 Pokemon combined out of the 3 trainers we faced in the battle zone near Hotel Z to earn said challenger's ticket. Actually, it was 4 different Pokemon. But once I claimed my ticket, I headed to an area filled with taxicabs near the first Pokémon Center you find when you arrive in Lumiose City to take on Zack, who wants to abolish all forms of transportation in Lumiose City except for taxicabs if he was to reach rank A. Zack has a team of 3 Pokémon, 2 of which that can hit super effectively against a Riolu, with the first one being his lead Pokémon Slowpoke with the Psychic Special Attack Confusion. But Riley was able to knock out Slowpoke in 3 hits, 2 of which being super effectively being Shadow Claw and Thunder Punch for the knockout. Pidgey can hit super effectively with the Flying Special Attack Gust, but it took an Ice Punch to the Dome piece for a one-shot. Zack's final Pokémon is his ace, Pikachu, the lovable Pokémon mascot, who was able to slow down Riolu a bit by using Thunder Wave to cause paralysis. But Riolu is numb to the pressure it was facing, attacking with a less effective priority Bullet Punch before eventually getting the KO with Ice Punch followed by a match-ending Shadow Claw, giving me my first promotion match victory and handing Zack an unprecedented 100th consecutive promotion match defeat. I am no longer at the bottom of the barrel in the ZA Royale as I start my steady climb up the rankings to rank Y. With 1 promotion match win in the bag, my next stop in Lumiose City is Wild Zone 3, where I encountered Ivor from the Fist of Justice, a fighting-type Pokémon stud that wants to get rid of Wild Zones so that wild Pokémon can live free in the city with humans. A pretty bold request if you ask me. Josie, the 5th strongest disciple of the Fist of Justice, thanks to Urbane's big mouth, challenged me and Riley to a Pokémon battle, and Riley was able to take out her 2 fighting types Machop and Meditite without any problems whatsoever. Once the Fist of Justice was done spreading their propaganda to the common folk here in Lumiose, the real reason why I went to Wild Zone 3 was to climb up the top of the watchtower to get the TM for Aerial Ace, a move that Riolu and its evolved form Lucario can learn. I then headed to the Magenta District to get a fighting move that Lucario can learn, Brick Break. I then made a visit to the Pokeball boutique shop to purchase a luxury ball. The reason being is I climbed up a ladder in the Rouge District to a rooftop where a static Riolu would spawn. And it only spawns in Legends ZA in that spot in sunny weather. After weakening the Riolu, I caught this rare 12.5% female Riolu in that luxury ball. And considering this is a solo challenge, I wanted to have as many advantages as possible by catching this particular Riolu, which I nicknamed after Sinnoh region fighting-type gym leader Maylene, who had a Lucario as her ace Pokemon. This is a timid-natured female Riolu that has a good shot at having the mini-mark if marks were a thing in Legends ZA. The main reason for catching this Riolu is because there's an obedience cap, where Pokemon caught or traded into the game have an obedience cap, which is currently at 25 after winning your first promotion match. If the Pokemon does not have your original trainer name and number attached to it, and it goes over the obedience cap, it will start to disobey you in battle. After getting the crucial TM for Water Pulse, I had some downtime with Maylene at a cafe near Hotel Z for 5 straight visits. Once the friendship is high enough, especially since I caught this Riolu in a luxury ball, to further speed up the process, Maylene can evolve into Lucario, giving Maylene the secondary Steel typing, meaning Lucario is no longer weak to Psychic, Fairy, and Flying type attacks, but is now weak to its own type of fighting, along with being weak to Fire and Ground type attacks, which is exactly what I needed to get that Water Pulse TM, considering it can hit super effectively against 2 of Lucario's 3 weaknesses. Lucario's first official fight was against Detective Emma and her single Mareep, which Lucario easily one-shot with the ground physical attack Bulldoze. After the win, Emma gives us a first-hand look at Mega Evolution with her fully evolved Ampharos. After getting a small glimpse into the future of this challenge, I got another announcement on the ZA Royale app that my next opponent is Yvonne. So Lucario and I were back to dominating opposing trainers in the ZA Royale battle zones, with the next one being my favorite battle zone near Cafe Gallant in the Magenta District. Lucario effortlessly notched 35 victories and earned me a whole lot of pocket money along with my second Challenger's ticket. Once morning came, I headed to the Blue District Plaza where my next promotion match was awaiting me as I went up against Yvonne, another trainer that has 3 Pokémon, and I regrettably came into this fight way too overleveled at level 27 as Lucario was able to 2-shot her Spritzy with Bullet Punch and Ice Punch, then dispatching her second Pokemon Swirlix with Bullet Punch and another TM that I've earned through Professor Mabel's research, Rock Slide, a rock physical attack that is 4 times effective on Yvonne's ace Pokemon Vivian, who tried to set up a Light Screen. However, Light Screen only cuts down damage by 50% of special attacks, which Rock Slide is not. I crushed Yvonne nice and quick for my second promotion match victory, increasing my rank to rank X. This win also raises the obedience cap in this game to level 30. After defeating fellow Team MZ member Naveen the first time facing him in the story, my next opponent in the ZA Royale was announced that it is Xavi. Eager in wanting to battle him while I was still on a hot streak, I beat down as many trainers as possible in the ZA Royale to secure my next Challenger's ticket, then quickly made it to Academy Itole to square off against the grade schooler that has 4 Pokemon that are balanced, but 2 of which won't be much of an issue, including his first Pokemon Venipede, who loves to set up a layer of spikes, but since one of its types is poison, it can't touch Lucario due to Lucario's secondary steel typing. I equipped Lucario with a citrus berry for this fight to gain some valuable HP back if Lucario even went to below 50% of its HP. Venipede was quickly disposed of by the combination of Ice Punch and the super effective Aerial Ace. Kadabra was able to set up a Reflect before it got knocked out by Lucario's Ice Punch. Roselia lost Kadabra's protection when Lucario used Brick Break to smash the Reflect, before Roselia also got wiped out by a super effective Ice Punch. Roselia tried to slow down Lucario by using Sleep Powder, which would have put Lucario in a drowsy state, but Lucario was not to be denied total victory, as it one-shot Xavi's ace Pokemon Furfur with a super effective Brick Break. The ZA Royale was starting to become just another day at the office for Lucario and I, as I climb up the rankings again to rank W. After defeating my third fellow Team MZ member Lita, it was then revealed I was going to face Rentaro for my next promotion match. After quickly piling up 8 victories in the ZA Royale, I secured another Challenger's ticket, then made haste over to Restaurant Lena to go up against Rentaro, the restaurant's head waiter, who wants to turn Restaurant Lena from a 1-star establishment into a 3-star establishment if he can reach rank A, but not on my watch, as Lucario is now at level 31, going up against Rentaro's team of 3 Unova region elemental monkeys, starting with the grass monkey Simisage. I stacked Lucario with the moveset of Thunder Punch, Brick Break, Aerial Ace, and Rock Slide, with Aerial Ace striking for super effective damage on Simisage, who went down to a Rock Slide, the one attack I needed to hit for super effective damage on Rentaro's second elemental monkey, the fire monkey Simisear, who wisely shielded itself from Lucario's Rock Slide attempt, also hitting Lucario for super effective damage with both Flame Wheel and Ember, forcing Lucario to use its other 3 attacks to eventually finish off Simisear. Lucario also got use out of that citrus berry, as Maylene is up to 66 hit points once Rentaro brought out his final Pokemon, the water monkey Simipour, who was never able to deal any hit point of damage on Lucario as it went down to the combination of Brick Break and Thunder Punch. Lucario's Brick Break struck Simipour right before it could use Protect, leading to the textbook victory over Rentaro, which provides a very important checkpoint for this run, as I now increase my rank to V, and the obedience cap is now at 40. Lumiose City was about to reach the midnight hour as I finally departed the restaurant. As I got a call on my Rotom phone from Detective Emma, I was approached by the 10% form of the legendary Zygarde, who then led me to a building, throwing me on top of it. And once I was there and I turned around, over my right shoulder, there was a suffering Absol that was in pain from what is deemed to be Rogue Mega Evolution energy. That's when Detective Emma finally arrived on the scene, as did AZ, and it was more than a cameo appearance, as he brought over his own Lucario that was tasked with the purpose of giving me my very own Mega Ring. I now have the ability to Mega Evolve my own Lucario once I get the Lucario Night Stone. But for now, this is the tutorial fight against Rogue Mega Absol, where I'm using AZ's Lucario. In Pokemon Legends ZA, once you defeat a Rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon boss battle, you obtain their Mega Stone. And in this tutorial fight, AZ's Lucario has the moveset of Aura Sphere, Rock Smash, Protect, and Bullet Punch. And once we freed Absol from its suffering, it joins our team. I woke up the next morning being challenged to battle by Urbane, wanting to show off his Mega Evolved Pokemon. This is a 1v3 where I go up against said Mega Evolved Pokemon and the 2 starter Pokemon that I did not pick at the beginning of this challenge, as Lucario 2-shot Bayleaf with Aerial Ace and Brick Break. The second Pokemon, Croconaw, also went down to a Brick Break. And now for Urbane's third Pokemon, Manectric, which is about to Mega Evolve and can hit Lucario super effectively with the Fire Physical Attack Fire Fang, which Manectric used on its first attack immediately to take off a chunk of Lucario's health, before striking back with a super effective Bulldoze. A paralysis from Thunder Fang eventually left Lucario with 11 HP before it was able to get the knockout with a second Bulldoze. That was the first close call of the run, and that's when I figured something needed to change. After the battle with Urbane, we headed over to Quasartico Incorporated, where we had an important chat with the secretary of Quasartico Incorporated, Vinnie, who reminds us about the dangers of Rogue Mega Evolution and how it could potentially destroy all of Lumiose City and even threaten the entire Kalos region at large. Vinnie also saw great potential in the both of us, as he promptly set up a special promotion match for myself and Urbane. It was at that point where I took Lucario out of the Legends ZA's save file, put it in my main save file of Legends ZA, and after putting it in Pokemon Home to put it back into this save file, I taught Lucario the TM for Drain Punch, a base 75 power fighting physical attack that deals damage and heals the user. It's a TM that can only be accessible in the Mega Dimension DLC. Having this move comes with a caveat. I cannot take Drain Punch out of Lucario's moveset, or I will have to repeat the process in order to put Drain Punch back in, so consider that attack permanent in Lucario's moveset for the duration of this challenge. Drain Punch can hit any type of Pokemon except for Ghost types. And since we're on the subject of Punch TMs, there is a Punch TM that Lucario can now obtain, considering Wild Zone 9 has been unlocked after defeating Rintaro, and that is Power Up Punch, a fighting physical attack that gives the user an attack boost every time it hits. After collecting my Challenger's ticket, I returned to Quasartico Incorporated to have that showdown with Vinnie, who has 4 Pokemon, which all share the distinction of being weak to fighting type attacks, including his first Pokemon Houndoom, which is a Fire and Dark Dual typing, which means Houndoom can still hit Lucario super effectively, especially considering it loves to use Fire Spin for its first attack. I gave Lucario the held item Quick Claw, which has a small percentage of activating when an attack is called. I had Lucario use Drain Punch to one-shot Houndoom after taking some damage from Fire Spin. Vinnie's second Pokemon Sharpedo, a Water and Dark Dual typing, loves to set up a Whirlpool, but it never stood a chance once Quick Claw activated on Lucario's Thunder Punch. Sharpedo quickly succumbed to a second Drain Punch, then Banuri was wiped out by a close-range Aura Sphere that reacted fast because Quick Claw procced once again. Vinnie is now down to his final Pokemon, Drampa, a normal and dragon type that is from the Alola region, and the first Pokemon from Generation 7 to get a brand new Mega Evolution. Vinnie always calls for Drampa to use Safeguard for its opening move to prevent status conditions, giving Lucario a chance to heal with Drain Punch before delivering the final blow with another Aura Sphere. A resounding victory for Maylene, my beloved Lucario, and myself, and shortly after the victory, Urbane does the same thing and vanquishing Vinnie, awarding both of us a monumental rise up the ranks. The obedience cap also rises 20 levels up to 60, but the most important thing about the win over Vinnie is that we can now go to the shop in Quasarticle Incorporated, where I did not hesitate to purchase the Lucario Knight. With the battles in Legend ZA now beginning to get increasingly more difficult even for a Pokemon as great as Lucario on its own, I figured I'd start preparing now with another ZA Royale run, as the versatility of Lucario being able to adapt to any situation never fails to amaze me, as I'm able to once again secure a Challenger's ticket. Now we're at the point of the game where Vinnie gives a call to Team MZ to handle some problems, which is a series of 3 Rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon boss battles. The first one I elected to start with for the first trio is Victory Bell. Considering Victory Bell has a large stature when it Mega Evolves, it hardly moves from the center of the field, giving Lucario the freedom to attack at close range. At certain points in the battle, Victory Bell will lay down a series of poison traps that it loves to knock you back in with its Power Whip. But Lucario doesn't have to worry about being poisoned due to its secondary steel typing, eventually calming down Rogue Mega Victory Bell with the moveset of Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, Aerial Ace, and Ice Punch. Naveen teamed up with me against Victory Bell. Against Rogue Mega Slowbro, which I went after second, I was joined by Urbane. For this fight, I gave Lucario 2 super effective attacks in Thunder Punch and Shadow Claw, which has a heightened chance of landing a critical hit, and the setup move Swords Dance, which gives Lucario a 1-stage attack boost. I next join Lita as we team up to pacify Rogue Mega Camerupt, whose typings of fire and ground are hazardous to Lucario's health, which is why I'm deeply grateful that Lucario can learn Water Pulse by TM, a special attack that Camerupt is 4 times weak to, and hoping to further the damage output, I made sure Lucario learned the TM for Calm Mind, which increases Lucario's special attack and special defense statistics. I also had Lucario relearn the ground physical attack Bulldoze to do even more super effective damage to Camerupt. No rest for the weary as I return to Hotel Z, only to be approached by Zygarde, this time wanting to battle me. But fortunately Lucario is at the point where it learns the special attack Dragon Pulse, which is super effective against Zygarde, as is Ice Punch, being 4 times effective on the Dragon and Ground Legendary. After the impromptu battle, Zygarde gives me a Pebble, which doesn't look much for now, but trust me, it is a very important item for me to carry for the rest of this challenge. Now in Hotel Z, it gives me and the rest of Team MZ a chance to cool off. It's then when I learned that my next opponent in the ZA Royale is Canari, a popular gaming live streamer. In order to challenge her, I had to ace the Canari Quiz Whiz competition at the electrical substation, where at the end of it, I had to battle one of Canari's biggest fans named Monty, who has a team of 3 electric types, which gives me good practice for the battle against Canari, who also masters in using electric types. After handling Monty's team with relative ease, Lucario and I were led to Racing Construction, where the actual promotion match will take place. But before it can get underway, I was challenged to battle by Canari's grandfather, Tarragon. The reason why scaffolding courses are all over the place in Lumiose City, and the reason this run could potentially end because Tarragon is a user of ground types. His first Pokemon, Hippowdon, is particularly annoying, not because it set up Stealth Rocks, but because it used Amnesia to sharply boost its special defense to avoid being knocked out by a Water Pulse. Lucario knocks out the Hippo with a Drain Punch to prevent Hippowdon from setting up a second layer of Stealth Rocks. Fortunately, Terragon's next two Pokemon are both weak to fighting, starting with the part normal type Diggersby, who immediately gets obliterated by a Drain Punch Water Pulse combo. Terragon's final Pokemon, however, is Excadrill, who got a brand new Mega Evolution in Pokemon Legends ZA and will easily wreck Lucario if it gets one Swords Dance boosted attack off. Lucario having a speed boosting nature definitely helped, as the combination of Drain Punch and Brick Break stopped Excadrill in its tracks before it could dig underground and potentially one-shot Lucario. Now that I'm all charged up and ready for battle, it's time to square up against the Kalos region's lean, mean, streaming queen, Canari, the dynamo sensation herself that has 4 electric types, 2 of which can hit Lucario super effectively. Considering Heliolisk, her first Pokemon has Bulldoze, and then the Pokemon that I'm sure will come out second, the part ground-type Stunfisk, has Mudshot. Not to mention all 4 of her Pokemon can potentially paralyze Lucario with their electrifying arsenal of attacks. Unfortunately for Canari, Heliolisk is also a normal type, giving Lucario a free KO with Drain Punch. Stunfisk came out next, setting up its special defense and powering up its next electric attack by using Charge on its opening move, giving Lucario the chance to reveal the other 3 moves it had in its moveset, which all strike Stunfisk for super effective damage, and Bulldoze, Ice Punch, and Water Pulse. Knowing that most of my attack set is physical for this fight, Ampharos, the third Pokemon Canari brought out, set up its physical defense for a long period of time by using Cotton Guard, which made Ampharos pretty tough to knock out quickly. And once Lucario knocked out Ampharos with Drain Punch, it was left with a third of its health lost once Canari brought out her ace Pokemon, Electros, another Pokemon from the Unova region, just like Terragon's Excadrill, that got a brand new Mega Evolution. Lucario struck Mega Electros with Bulldoze right as Electros' discharge took Lucario down to 43 HP, but once Electros went for Eerie Impulse, that sealed the fate of this match, once Lucario finished off the fight with a Drain Punch. Lucario came into this battle at level 48 and emerged victorious as I leave the construction site with a promotion to rank E. After another thrilling promotion match win, I'm able to get a couple more TMs now that Wild Zones 11 through 13 are unlocked, with the first one being Psychic. And I also got the ability to Roto Glide after defeating Canari, which allowed for me to get the TM for Shadow Ball. Now Team MZ must deal with 3 more Rogue Mega Evolutions. For the second trio, it's Rogue Mega Beedrill, Hawlucha, and Banette. I challenged Beedrill first. Beedrill spends most of the time in the fight airborne, but Lucario can still strike from long range with Rock Slide and Psychic. And when Beedrill is low to the ground, Lucario can also strike super effectively with Aerial Ace. Urbane and I were able to quell the threat of Rogue Mega Beedrill. Next, I joined Lita as we teamed up against Rogue Mega Hawlucha, a fighting and flying dual typing that can still hit Lucario super effectively when he uses its charge-up attack, its signature Flying Press. All of Lucario's moves when Mega Evolve become plus moves, which will deal more damage to Hawlucha, especially since I equipped Lucario with 3 super effective attacks, being Psychic, and 2 of the elemental punches, Ice and Thunder. Once Hawlucha was freed from the pain it was suffering from, I next joined Naveen to take on Rogue Mega Banette, a pure ghost type, which means Lucario can only hit Banette with 3 attacks, but those 3 attacks are all Lucario needs in the Steel Special Attack Flash Cannon and 2 super effective ghost moves, Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. After a frantic fight, Banette was finally calmed down. Back at Team MZ for a little R&R, it is then I learned that my next promotion match is against Ivor, who we seen earlier in the run. So I was back to beating trainers at night in the ZA Royale, made even faster now that Lucario has another priority move in its arsenal, the base 80 power normal attack Extreme Speed, a +3 priority attack which is even faster than another priority normal move, Quick Attack. Then I visited Wild Zone 12 to beat up and catch some Ice-type Pokemon to further progress in Professor Mabel's research. And once I was able to accomplish that, I reached level 34 to get one of the best physical attacks in the game, the ground base 100 power attack Earthquake. I visited the Justice Dojo where I ran into a familiar face, the 5th strongest disciple of the Fist of Justice. Josie challenged me to battle again, with her 2 Pokemon that are now fully evolved, but Lucario was able to take them down. After the bout and getting a Seed of Mastery from Josie, Ivor was in distress, considering his sister Gwen is suddenly missing. After meeting with Detective Emma to investigate, I was forced into battle by Canari at Racing Construction for a rematch, which Lucario handled easily now that it has Earthquake in its arsenal of attacks. Ivor, Emma, and myself then made it into Lumiose Sewers, where Lucario was able to add another valuable TM to its list of moves, being the Dark Physical Attack Crunch, which I wasted little time in teaching Lucario once we got to the deeper part of the sewers, where Ivor, Emma, and I were able to finally locate Gwen, who was all alone with her ace Pokemon Chandelure. Gwen was only at that spot because she wanted some peace and quiet, and also prevent the reckless brother of hers, Ivor, from participating in any more promotion matches because he takes his battling to the extreme. In order for me to battle Ivor, I must defeat Gwen in a Pokemon battle, and she only has a team of 3 ghost types, which includes a Banette, who wasted its first turn by using Heal Block, which is exactly why I had Drain Punch in Lucario's moveset, so Lucario gets a free KO with Shadow Claw. Gwen's second Pokemon, Gourgeist, could turn any Pokemon into a ghost type that isn't a ghost type already by using Trick or Treat, but it never used that move, opting to deal damage to Lucario before getting wiped out by the trio of Lucario's attacks being Crunch, Shadow Claw, and Earthquake. The latter of which is less effective on Gourgeist considering it's also a grass type, but Gourgeist was too weak to mount a comeback. I Mega Evolved Lucario right before Gwen Mega Evolved Chandelure, the 3rd Pokemon from Unova so far in the story that got a new Mega Evolution. Since Chandelure is also a fire type, I made sure Lucario was able to strike before it could protect itself with Crunch, which also got a defense drop, leaving Chandelure prey to fall victim to an Earthquake. Before returning to the dojo for my promotion match, I headed to a little shopping spot in the Root District, used 20,000 Pokédollars to give Lucario a Serious Mint, which means Lucario will gradually and naturally grow on all 6 of its IVs, being its HP stats, both its attack stats, both its defense stats, and speed. Since Lucario is naturally fast anyway, she's going to need it against Ivor, considering all 4 of his fighting-type Pokemon can hit Lucario for super effective damage, including his first Pokemon, the part Bug-type Heracross. Lucario came into this fight at level 57, making an emphatic statement right out of the gates by annihilating Heracross with a quad-effective aerial ace. The martial artist is still confident considering he has a 3-to-1 edge as he brought out his second Pokemon, Medicham, who quickly got 2-shot by Lucario's aerial ace and Shadow Claw, the latter of which is super effective due to the fact that Medicham is also a psychic type. Machamp is Ivor's penultimate Pokemon, loving to boost his attack and defense immediately with Bulk Up. After landing a quick aerial ace, Lucario attacked from the special side to knock out Machamp with Psychic. Now the match is broken down to a 1-on-1, and Ivor only has his ace Pokemon Phalanx to lean on, as we both Mega Evolve our Pokemon. Phalanx is a slow Pokemon, which is exactly why Ivor loves to give Phalanx an Omni boost on its first move by using No Retreat, giving Lucario plenty of time to make some psychic noise. Lucario convincingly proved to Ivor that Lucario is the superior fighting type in all of Lumiose City, as I increase my rank in the ZA Royale to rank D. Waking up after a promotion match win in Lumiose City is supposed to be a good thing, especially after being gifted performance sneakers by Naveen. But once Lita returned to Hotel Z from her early morning dance practice, it is we found out through her that her Bane did something absolutely dumb. Wanting to make a promo video for Hotel Z isn't the dumb part. What is that he borrowed $100,000 from the nefarious Rust Syndicate. Wanting to beef up Lucario after hearing that news, I headed back to Justice Dojo to hypertrain Lucario after receiving 10 bottle caps for reaching level 36 in Professor Mabel's research. The Lucario I caught as a female Riolu after winning my first promotion match was already best in 2 of its IVs, which is pretty impressive. What's also impressive was this run by Lucario in the ZA Royale, racking up 32 more wins en route to earning another Challenger's ticket. Finally joining Lita at the Rust Syndicate office, we were cut off at the entrance by the Rust Syndicate's proverbial vice president, Philippe, who challenged me to a Pokémon battle. Philippe has a team of 3 Steel-type Pokémon, including his first one, Steelix, with an impressive physical defense stat, but its special defense leaves a lot to be desired, evidenced by Steelix getting one-shot by Lucario's Aura Sphere. Philippe's second Pokémon is the hard-hitting Scizor, that ended up getting smacked around by 2 straight critical hits, Lucario's Water Pulse, followed by a Drain Punch, getting Lucario back to full health right before Philippe revealed his final Pokémon is his ace from the Johto region, Skarmory, which definitely has one of my top 5 new Mega Evolutions that debuted in this game. The only move Lucario has to worry about in Skarmory's moveset is the ground physical attack Drill Run, which has a heightened chance of landing a critical hit. Once Lucario's Water Pulse struck for a third, Skarmory's Drill Run connected, before the Steely Bird got dropped by Lucario's Thunder Punch for the victory. After defeating Philippe, we were then introduced in the Rust Syndicate office to Big Boss Corbeau. It was then in that meeting with him that we learned that Urbane borrowing 100,000 Poké-Dollars to make a new Hotel Z promotion video was a bigger problem than we anticipated, because Urbane racked up $1 million in debt. So in order to help Urbane pay off the loan, we were forced into doing free labor for the Rust Syndicate. But after heading back to Hotel Z, we learned that more trouble was coming around the corner. That trouble came in the form of another phone call from Vinnie, informing us that there's 3 more Pokemon that could potentially go rogue. I went with Naveen to a Holovator near Academy Itole, noticing that the Holovator stopped working. The main reason was Gwen from the Fist of Justice was seeking revenge against me for her humiliating defeat at Lumiose Sewers, but Lucario shredded through her team once again, finishing off Mega Chandelure with the combination of Shadow Claw and Earthquake. The latter of those attacks I kept in Lucario's moveset as I team up with Naveen in an attempt to pacify Rogue Mega Ampharos, a pure electric type that gains the Dragon typing once it Mega evolves, making Ampharos weak to 2 of Lucario's attacks being Dragon Pulse and Ice Punch. Lucario somehow avoided being paralyzed by the Ampharos series of discharge attacks before calming down Ampharos. Next, I joined Urbane in an attempt to pacify Rogue Mega Mawile, a Fairy and Steel dual typing. This was a straightforward Rogue Mega fight. All I had to do was avoid Mawile's series of Moonblast once it goes up into the sky, as Lucario was able to defeat Mawile in near record time thanks to super effective bulldozers and earthquakes. Lucario's now at level 65 as I next join Lita in an attempt to pacify Rogue Mega Barbaracle, a rock and fighting dual typing. Lucario's now at a level where it learns the most powerful fighting physical attack in the game, Close Combat, a base 120 power attack that lowers the user's defenses once it hits the attack. Combine that attack with Earthquake and Drain Punch, along with the setup move Bulk Up, which increases the user's attack and defense. Thank you, Ivor, for that TM, by the way. Lucario was able to deal massive damage before calming down Barbaracle. After calming down another series of Rogue Megas, I headed to the Rust Syndicate office alone to meet up with Corbeau, who told me in this new meeting, after completing 4 free labor odd jobs, that I was done working for him. Corbeau also added that he's willing to forgive Urbane's loan, and that he's also my next promotion match adversary. Corbeau was also impressed by the fact that I already had my Challenger's ticket, so he can get right on with the battle. Corbeau has a team of 4 Pokemon, 3 of which are poison types that can't even touch Lucario with their venomous attacks. But Corbeau is no fluke, because 2 of his poison types can hit super effectively on Lucario, and he has another ace in the hole that's not even a poison type. Corbeau's lead Pokemon Arbok usually poisons any opposing Pokemon that's not a steel type by using Toxic, but that move and Poison Jab are completely worthless against the Steel type, but it does have the super effective Fire Fang. Arbok's only other attack it can hit Lucario with is the bug physical attack Leech Life, a move that Lucario quad resists, as Valine was able to get the 2-shot on Arbok with Psychic and Aerial Ace. The second Pokemon for Corbeau is Gyarados, drawing inspiration from a former prominent figure in Kalos. But Gyarados was no match for Lucario's quad-effective Thunder Punch. Lucario did run into a little bit of trouble against Corbeau's penultimate Pokemon Roserade, who landed a critical hit with Shadow Ball before going down to the combination of Psychic and Drain Punch. Keeping up on the theme in this story, Corbeau's final Pokemon is Scolipede, yet another Pokemon from the Unova region that got a brand new Mega Evolution that can strike Lucario for super effective damage with Earthquake. Its other moves are X-Scissor, which Lucario quad resists, Gunk Shot, which Lucario is immune to, and the fourth move is Protect, which is the main reason why I made sure Lucario had Aerial Ace in its moveset to take advantage of the big bug's pathetic low speed. Aerial Ace struck before Scolipede can properly defend itself before Scolipede's world got absolutely rocked by Psychic. Scolipede's defense base stat once Mega Evolved is astronomical, so I knew I needed a special attack to polish off the fight before Scolipede can even think about using an Earthquake, as I now rise up the rankings again to rank C. Now 2 positions away from the top rank of A in the ZA Royale, I was challenged to battle by my fellow Team MZ members Lita and Naveen, who were now gifted their own Mega Rings by AZ. In order to keep Lucario sharp, I took them up on their challenge, with Lita being the first to fall, as her team of 4 Pokemon, including her ace Pokemon Staryu, all got clapped by Lucario's arsenal of moves. Against Naveen, he also had a team of 4, which was captained by his ace Pokemon Scrafty that got a new Mega Evolution. But considering Scrafty is also a Dark type, Lucario proved to Scrafty who the better Mega Evolved fighting type is, dropping Scrafty instantaneously with a Drain Punch. Lucario and I, along with Lita, Naveen, and all their Pokemon, worked themselves up an appetite. So Urbane took us to a coffee outing at the Nouveau Cafe truck nearest Centrico Plaza. After a few minutes, we were then interrupted by a declaration from the Society of Battle Connoisseurs. Passing out a cordial invitation to only Urbane and myself is the SBC representative Liban, inviting us to an exclusive tournament that is to be held at Hotel Richissimi. I immediately accepted the invitation because that gives Maylene, my Lucario, a golden opportunity to showcase its battle prowess in front of an elite group of A-listers. That also means I gotta look my absolute best while battling. So Urbane and the rest of Team MZ took me to Boutique Couture, a shopping spot that's not too far away from the Pokemon Research Lab. I then battled Fury Souled Girl Asami and her Florges, which is no match for Lucario's super effective Iron Tail. The only requirement for me to get brand new wardrobe from Boutique Couture is to defeat Asami with a Mega Evolved Pokemon. Mission accomplished. I was able to add to my wardrobe, maintaining my fashionista image before going with Urbane to Hotel Richissimi. It is there where we found several familiar faces, including trainers that I've defeated at least once, like Canari and Gwen, who apparently are besties with each other. But here comes a lady who I think is more enamored with herself, but you can't deny the fact she's got the look that will make others smitten with her. And I'm talking about the Hotel Richissimi owner and the leader of the SBC, Lady Jacinthe, who I deem in high regard for a different reason. She's an extraordinarily skilled Pokemon trainer that specializes in using fairy types. Jacinthe's a pretty good matchmaker to get all of the top trainers in Lumiose to compete in the tournament, but before we could all lock horns with each other, another phone call alerted from Urbane's Rotom phone. Vinnie has alarmed Urbane and I that there are 3 more cases of potential rogue Mega Evolution, so we had to make like a banana and split, in spite of Liban's desperate attempt to keep us in Hotel Richissimi until Jacinthe's tournament reaches its conclusion. A 4th round of 3 rogue Mega Evolution boss battles starts with Naveen and I attempting to pacify rogue Mega Frostlass, another Pokemon that got a new Mega Evolution that is immediately in my top 5 of new Mega Evolutions that debuted in this game. Lucario is able to strike for big damage with the Steel Physical Attack Metal Claw that has a strong percentage of boosting Lucario's attack stat, while also striking Frostlass with Shadow Claw and Crunch. After obtaining Frostlass's Mega Stone, I was immediately creeped out by Jacinthe's hologram. Next up, I joined forces with Lita once again, as this time we went up against Rogue Mega Altaria. That gets a lot of airtime in this fight, but Lucario has an impressive vertical leap, striking Altaria with the super effective Steel Physical Attack Bullet Punch, while also connecting with Metal Claw and Ice Punch, which both strike Altaria for super effective damage, considering the Dragon and Flying type loses the Flying typing and adds the Fairy typing to it when it Mega Evolves. The presence of Jacinthe via hologram is starting to get even more weirder by the second, as I left that area and teamed up with Urbane to go up against Rogue Mega Venusaur next. Having to work around the thorny brambles that Venusaur set up was the only real threat in this Rogue Mega fight, as Lucario got up in Venusaur's face with Aerial Ace and Ice Punch for big damage, while also hitting super effectively from afar with the special attack Psychic. The blessing of Lucario being a Steel type means it never has to worry about Venusaur's widespread Sludge Wave. However, the hologram of Jacinthe gave Urbane and I a new reason to be fearful. After successfully calming down 3 more Rogue Megas, Lucario and I maintained our sterling reputation in the ZA Royale, defeating 32 more trainers along the way to claiming another Challenger's ticket. The next morning at Hotel Z, Team MZ and I were awakened by a disturbing sound that was the creation of this disgusting-looking purple-colored battle zone created by an impatient Lady Jacinthe and the SBC that came with an even more distasteful title, the Jacinthe Zone. In order for this stupid thing to be gone, Team MZ left it up to me to defeat 2 SBC socialites in a row. Once I gave them a proper thrashing and sending them back to Hotel Richissimi holding an L, I then had to deal with Liban, who warned us of Jacinthe's attitude. Liban is a devastating Pokemon trainer with 4 destructive dragons, 2 of which have Earthquake in their movesets. However, Liban has a fatal flaw, and that is all 4 of her dragon types are extremely weak to ice, including her first Pokemon Noivern, who Lucario dealt with swiftly thanks to this quad effect of Ice Punch, preventing Noivern from sinking its teeth into Lucario with Super Fang. Tyrantrum came out second, lowering Lucario's attack by 1 with Breaking Swipe before it went down to the combination of Drain Punch and another Ice Punch. This is where the bout gets personal for Lucario, as the penultimate Pokemon for Liban is Garchomp, who unceremoniously got annihilated by another quad effect of Ice Punch, proving that Lucario is the true GOAT of the Sinnoh region. The final confrontation of this bout pits Lucario, that I'm about to Mega Evolve, against Liban's ace Pokemon, Kalos native Dragougi, that also got a new Mega Evolution. Dragougi's best attacks are Dragon Pulse, which Lucario resists due to being a Steel type, and Sludge Bomb, that Lucario is immune to. Lucario got 8 hit points back by penetrating through Dragougi's Protect with Drain Punch. Then Liban was rendered helpless as her Mega Dragougi got deleted by Mega Lucario's super effective Earthquake. Once I conquered Liban, I learned that my next ZA Royale promotion match opponent is Jacinthe, so Urbane and I must go back to Hotel Richissimi whether we like it or not. Upon arriving back at Hotel Richissimi, the folks inside pretty much took issue with our abrupt departure, especially when they tried to leave thinking that the tournament was over. They were trapped under house arrest by one of those ugly Jacinthe zones. No one was more upset with me than Canari, and I'm pretty sure she had some corporate and creative pull with Jacinthe to rig this ridiculous looking bracket shown on her LED board, considering that Jacinthe made herself the Ultra Deluxe #1 seed, watching everyone else battle until there was only 1 trainer left standing. On top of that, she paired Canari in the first round of the tournament against me. But this third fight against the founder of the Dynamo Canari fan club was no different than the previous 2 times, as Mega Lucario wiped the floor with her team of 4, including her ace Mega Electros with another Earthquake. In embarrassing fashion, Urbane got eliminated in the first round by Corbeau from the Rust Syndicate. In the quarterfinals, I went up against Ivor for the second time, but his team doesn't change much, as Mega Lucario once again took down Mega Phalanx with Psychic. I whispered in Urbane's ear that I will avenge his disheartening loss to Corbeau when I went up against him in a semi-final rematch. And just like the inaugural meeting with Corbeau in the Rust Syndicate office, his team of 4 simply cannot handle the fury of Lucario, as Mega Scolipede fell to the exact same trick as the first matchup. Lucario and I are now primed to face Jacinthe in the tournament finals, but before we could throw down, the legendary Zygarde re-emerged, itching to battle me again to build up its trust in me for the future of Lumiose City. Zygarde morphs into its 50% form, meaning its attacks will hit a lot harder, including his ground signature special attack Land's Wrath, which struck Lucario for nearly half of its health. Lucario was able to heal with Drain Punch and strike back with super effective moves like Dragon Pulse and a quad effective Ice Punch that ultimately defeats Zygarde for the second time in the story. Zygarde leaves for now, opening the door for Lucario and I to finally do battle against Lady Jacinthe. And not only the finals of her tournament, this doubles up as a ZA Royale promotion match. Lucario has the type advantage on all 5 of Jacinthe's Pokémon, but 3 of them have fire-type coverage that can melt down our steely resolve. The table of domination is set for Maylene, and she's ready to eat good in this lavish neighborhood. Hit the music! This red-hot battle starts with Jacinthe bringing out her first Pokémon Carbink, a Fairy and Rock dual typing, making it 4 times weak to Steel-type attacks. I had Lucario brazenly walk into the Stealth Rock setup of Carbink, hitting with a neutral Drain Punch before whipping out an Iron Tail for a quad-effective knockout. Jacinthe's second Pokémon is Mawile, that does have Fire Fang in its moveset. Lucario just missed out on a one-shot with Earthquake. After taking a Fire Fang, Lucario used Drain Punch to put Mawile down. Out next for Jacinthe is Gardevoir, that has Mystical Fire, but always uses its first move to set up its special stats with Calm Mind, leaving Gardevoir wide open to get brutalized by a Drain Punch Poison Jab combination. Jacinthe's penultimate Pokémon is Aurorus, a Pokémon that has 2 4x weaknesses to both of Lucario's types. Aurorus tried to protect itself, but Lucario's Iron Tail was quick enough to take Aurorus out. Jacinthe is running low on answers and even lower on hope once she brought out her final Pokémon, Clefable, a pure Fairy type, until it shows off its new Mega Evolution, making Clefable a Fairy and Flying dual typing. Clefairy also has Mystical Fire in its moveset, but has the same misfortunes as Aurorus, as I had Lucario use a 4x resistant Drain Punch to heal through Clefairy's Protect before Lucario swung for the fences and hit a Grand Slam with another Iron Tail, capping off a lopsided promotion match win over Lady Jacinthe, leaving everyone in Hotel Richissimi starstruck. I'm one step closer to my ultimate goal with this promotion to rank B. Wild Zones 18 and 19 are unlocked after you reach rank B, so I visited Wild Zone 18 and did some crazy parkour to get the TM for Stonehenge, giving Lucario another high critical hit ratio move to add to its library of TMs it can learn. As the final round of dealing with Rogue Mega Evolution cases is here. First up, I joined Urbane to try to pacify Rogue Mega Dragonite that launches a series of whirlwinds and thunderstorms at once. I withdrew Lucario from the battle once it unleashed its Hyper Beam, and once that attack was over, Lucario was able to strike super effectively with Dragon Pulse, Ice Punch, and Rock Slide. Dragonite's new Mega Evolution form that debuted in this game definitely grew on me. Once Dragonite was calmed, I then teamed up with Naveen to pacify Rogue Mega Tyranitar, which gives Lucario a decisive type advantage. Even though Tyranitar can still hit super effectively when it sets off a series of tremors, Lucario quickly dissected this pseudo-legendary from Johto with 3 quad-effective attacks, Drain Punch, Aura Sphere, and Close Combat. When I teamed up with Lita to try to reach a suffering Starmie, the area was blocked off by the Rust Syndicate, and Philippe challenged me to a rematch. However, Lucario went Super Saiyan on his team, knocking out Mega Skarmory for the win with Thunder Punch. Once the Rust Syndicate cleared out, Lita and I now attempted to calm down Rogue Mega Starmie. Lucario was able to hit super effectively with the moveset of Shadow Claw, Crunch, and Thunder Punch, while healing progressively when it uses Drain Punch. I almost blacked out when Starmie grazed me with his Hydro Pump, but Lucario managed to get the job done, including on another ZA Royale run, as I defeated 35 trainers in the nighttime to get my final Challengers ticket. Back at Hotel Z, we met with AZ, who had an important conversation with us, fearing that the day of terror in Lumiose City is looming large. Then a debate grew amongst the Team MZ brethren about who the strongest Mega Evolution user should be. That's when I found out that my final opponent in the ZA Royale is Grisham, a man so mysterious that Urbane and I headed to Looker Bureau to try and get some answers from Detective Emma, who immediately challenged me to an impromptu Pokemon battle. Emma has a diverse team of 5, but with Lucario at level 80, this match did not take long. Ampharos set up a light screen before getting wiped out by an earthquake. Mawile suffered the exact same fate. Lopunny can hit Lucario super effectively with Power-Up Punch, but Lucario beat Lopunny to the punch, draining all of its energy away, before Lucario knocked out Emma's own Lucario with another earthquake. I then Mega Evolved my magnificent Maylene, who was able to run roughshod on Emma's team, which only has her ace Pokemon Malamar left, another Pokemon from Kalos that got a new Mega Evolution. I used the other 2 moves in Lucario's moveset for this fight in Poison Jab and Flash Cannon to defeat Emma's Malamar. Emma then led me over back to the Pokemon Research Lab, where I got more information on where to head next from Professor Mabel. That's when I knew this situation was about to get dicey, when Emma and Mabel both told me that Grisham used to be a part of Team Flare. The investigation led me back to the Nouveau Cafe truck at Centrico Plaza, when I found out that Grisham is not your ordinary waiter in a coffee truck. He's also the boss of Team Flare Nouveau. Is this a reincarnation of the original Team Flare that nearly destroyed all of Kalos under the leadership of Lysander? Well, there's only one way to find out, as Grisham and Grizel took me over to the once thriving Lysander Cafe, where Grizel immediately challenged me to another Pokemon battle. This is another 1v5, and 3 of Grizel's Pokemon are fire types, including her first Pokemon Talonflame. After taking a quick attack, Lucario one-shot Talonflame with a quad-effective Stone Edge. Camerupt came in second, blocking an earthquake before getting one-shot by Lucario's quad-effective Water Pulse. The Kanto Region fossil Aerodactyl went down to a Stone Edge. The onslaught from Lucario continues as she used 3 attacks to eventually put down the Hoenn Region pseudo-legendary Metagross, forcing Grizel to bring out her ace Pokemon, a male Pyroar, who has 2 super effective attacks waiting for Lucario in Earth Power and Overheat, but it always goes for Snarl on the first turn to lower your special attack. But one mighty blow from Lucario's Drain Punch eradicates Mega Pyroar and ends the fight. And now that I'm in Lysander Cafe, I can get one final crucial TM that Lucario can learn in the Dark Special Attack, Dark Pulse. After getting a long, tumultuous trip down memory lane of the story from the original Pokemon X and Pokemon Y games, where I learned that Prism Tower is more than just an attraction for tourists, I can finally lock eyes with Grisham in this high-stakes promotion match. Grisham has a devastating array of 6 Pokemon, and 5 of them can strike Lucario for super effective damage, including his first Pokemon, Pangoro. The good news for Lucario is that half of his team are weak to fighting type moves, including Pangoro, due to the fact that it's a fighting and dark dual typing. For this fight, I strapped Lucario with the moveset of Ice Punch, Drain Punch, Stone Edge, and Earthquake, using Drain Punch on its opening attack to bust through Pangoro's Protect before getting the knockout with Ice Punch. A blessing from Arceus was bestowed upon Lucario with the rain falling down, as it took down the second Pokemon Grisham brought out, and a female Pyroar. Using the combo of Stone Edge and Drain Punch to knock Pyroar out of contention for this match, forcing Grisham to bring in Tyranitar third as it quickly got obliterated by Lucario's quad-effective Drain Punch. I guess Lucario loves slaying pseudo-legendaries, as Salamence was the next to go down, compliments of a quad-effective Ice Punch. Grisham's penultimate Pokemon is Malamar, who slows down Lucario's pace a bit by using Hypnosis to make Lucario drowsy, but Lucario still managed to two-shot Malamar out of here with the Stone Edge Drain Punch combo. And the final Pokemon for Grisham is Charizard, an ultimate ace for an ultimate fight, especially when Grisham Mega evolves Charizard into Mega Charizard X, making Charizard a Fire and Dragon dual typing, shedding off its flying type. And once I Mega evolve my marvelous Lucario, you are about to bear witness to the two most popular of the original Mega Evolution forms that debuted in Pokemon X and Y. Charizard's first move is Protect, but Lucario once again was one step faster with Drain Punch, and before Charizard can decimate Lucario with a Flare Blitz, Mega Lucario finally unleashed an Earthquake, and down goes Mega Charizard X. I have officially defeated Grisham, giving me the highest ranking in all of the ZA Royale. Lucario sensationally solos a 1v6, getting all the praise heaped on her, as I am now rank A. Returning to Hotel Z for my obligatory rank promotion celebration dinner with Team MZ, we got two reasons to celebrate, as Urbane also defeated Grisham to obtain rank A status, as we all retired for the night, hoping to get a good night's rest. Lumiose City once again found themselves in peril after hearing a loud explosion that reverberated throughout the entire town, and it didn't take long for AZ and Eternal Flower Floette to find the source of where that explosion came from. As Team MZ joined AZ and Floette atop the roof, we saw that Prism Tower was saturated in Rogue Mega Evolution energy. Gardalade switched out of her stylish wardrobe and put her Team MC jacket back on, knowing it was time to handle business once again, as Urbane got a call from Vinnie instructing we should meet up with him at Centrico Plaza. Eternal Flower Floette joined the trip along with us, while AZ stayed back at Hotel Z, rooting for us. Once we got to Centrico Plaza, I was challenged to battle by Urbane, who wanted to be the one to control the tower and Mega Evolve Eternal Flower Floette. This was more than just a statement battle for me to determine who the top A-ranked trainer in Team MZ is, because Urbane has a full team of 6 now, and I'm looking to defeat him one last time with one Lucario, which is now at level 81. Urbane's first Pokemon is a male Meowstic, which loves to set up both a Reflect and Light Screen. So in order for Lucario to take down Urbane's first Pokemon, I had to come with a full deck of 4 attacks, using the moveset of Poison Jab, which actually got Poison status, Earthquake, Drain Punch, and Ice Punch. Out of the team makeup for Urbane, 3 of his Pokemon can hit super effectively, with one of them being the Johto Grass Start and Meganium with Earth Power. For the second straight time in the fight, Lucario poisoned an opposing Pokemon with Poison Jab, and that was the cause of Meganium's demise after being weakened by an Earthquake. With the screen set up by Meowstic still active, Lucario knew it was time to stay on the aggressive as it took out the third Pokemon sent out by Urbane, Manectric, with an Earthquake. Goodra comes out fourth, but it's unable to use the Toxic strategy because Lucario is a Steel type. Goodra was able to hit Draco Meteor, but thankfully Lucario resists that move before Goodra went down to the combination of Drain Punch and Ice Punch. Speaking of ice, the penultimate Pokemon for Urbane is the physically built defensive stud Avalugg. Lucario had to hit Avalugg with everything it had before finishing off Avalugg with a second Poison Jab. Lucario's HP is still in good standing once Urbane brings out his final Pokemon Feraligatr, the Johto Water Starter, that now has a Mega Evolution making for Alligator a Water and Dragon dual typing. As for common courtesy, I decided to Mega Evolve Lucario, whose attack stat got lowered a bit when Feraligatr hit Breaking Swipe, but once Lucario poisoned a third Pokemon by Urbane with Poison Jab, that spelled the end of this match, once Lucario knocked out Feraligatr with one final Ice Punch. Urbane is classy in defeat, as I am officially the strongest trainer and Mega Evolution user in all of Lumiose City. Still, there was plenty of work to be done in order to save Lumiose City from another catastrophe. Regardless of the end result, Urbane, or Tawny if you're the male avatar for a Pokemon Legends ZA playthrough, is still the one to Mega Evolve Floette and ascend to the top of Prism Tower. Once inside and on the control panel, Urbane looked like he was able to quell the situation and everything seemed alright. But then Ange re-emerged with a frightening vengeance, as the windows of Prism Tower completely shattered, turning the middle of Lumiose City into an outright freak of nature. To make matters even worse, the Mega Evolution power contained within Ange started to spill all over Lumiose City, causing Pokemon that can Mega Evolve to do so at will, including a Gengar and a Heracross. I had Lucario change up its moves to Aerial Ace, Psychic, Shadow Claw, while still keeping Drain Punch in the rotation, even though it can't hit Gengar due to the fact that it's a Ghost type. But the other three moves can hit super effectively against Gengar and Heracross, as I got massive help from Lita and Naveen of Team MZ as we were able to calm down Gengar and Heracross. Thankfully, while still in the tower, Urbane was unharmed and was able to see Zygarde from a distance, thanks to one final Team MZ strategy meeting that was crashed by all of the top trainers in Lumiose City except for Grisham. I was now tasked with a final mission to reach Zygarde in the Magenta District by any means necessary. That also means I had to go through a series of more Rogue Mega Evolution fights, especially at the first rendezvous spot, where I had problems taking down all three with just Lucario. But thanks to the timely arrival of Ivor and Gwen from the Fist of Justice, collectively we were able to pacify the trio of Rogue Mega Kangaskhan, Pidgeot, and Garchomp. After getting a fist tap from Gwen, I made it safely to Canari, where we teamed up to pacify Rogue Mega Steelix and Rogue Mega Blastoise. I mainly targeted Steelix in this matchup, while Canari, having her Electros out, had the type advantage against Blastoise. And thanks to our combined power, we were able to take them both down at the exact same time. Canari, unlike Ivor and Gwen, offers to heal up Lucario, and I happily accepted. And while we were battling Blastoise and Steelix, Terragon and the Racing Construction crew set up the largest scaffolding course that I was able to clear without much trouble, which steered the way for me to reach the third rendezvous spot, where I joined forces with Liban from the SBC, where we took on Rogue Mega Salamence and Rogue Mega Aggron. I equipped Lucario with the moveset of Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Power Up Punch, and Earthquake, the latter of which can't hit Salamence due to its flying dual typing, which is why I zeroed in on Aggron, leaving Salamence up to Liban's Mega Dragougi. I then headed to the largest shopping arcade, not for clothes, but to team up with Corbeau from the Rust Syndicate as we took on Rogue Mega Gallade and Rogue Mega Gardevoir. Drain Punch was still in the attack location for Lucario, that way it can heal, but I switched up the other three moves to Shadow Claw, Aerial Ace, and Poison Jab, as I first singled out Gallade, and as it went down, I teamed up with Corbeau to double up on Gardevoir. There's one more area I need to reach, and thanks to a gigantic assist from the Rust Syndicate setting up a human ladder, I was able to reach the fifth and final rendezvous spot, where I was met by three more angry Rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon in Alakazam, Metagross, and Aerodactyl. That's when Team Flare Nouveau stepped in, giving me two reliable partners in Grisham and Grizel. Once again, with Drain Punch still in the rotation, I swapped out the other three moves, giving Lucario Shadow Ball Dark Pulse, and Thunder Punch, the latter of which I needed to hit Aerodactyl super effectively as I went after Aerodactyl first, leaving Grisham and Grizel to go after Alakazam and Metagross. Who was the first to be taken down? Alakazam was already suffering from burn status once Lucario finished off Aerodactyl. Then shortly after, Alakazam went down, clearing a path for me to finally reach Zygarde. Once Zygarde led me to a rooftop, it was time for the final confrontation, as Zygarde got all 100 cells needed to transform to its complete form. With the future of Lumiose City on the line, Zygarde and my Lucario put their collective powers together as we gear up for the final showdown against the final boss, Hyper Rogue Ange Floette, a boss with no weaknesses. I finally decided to remove Drain Punch from Lucario's moveset while also feeding Lucario a modest mint, equipping Lucario with a full long-range assault of special attacks being Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, Dark Pulse, and Flash Cannon. As I learned throughout my 7 playthroughs of Pokemon Legends ZA, it's best to attack the blue and red flowers one at a time from a distance. And the second my Mega Power Energy Bar is at full capacity, I Mega Evolve Lucario without any hesitation. I also made sure I stacked up on max potions and full restores, and the red flower eventually was taken down first with a Dark Pulse. Getting rid of one flower makes it a lot easier to go after the second one. And once Lucario was at low HP, I made sure I healed up instantly before doing anything else. And eventually the blue flower went down, ending the first phase once Lucario smacked the blue flower with a flash cannon. Defeating both flowers at the end of all 3 phases gives Zygarde an opening to land its first attack, and I chose to attack from below with Land's Wrath. And once Zygarde hits its first move, Ange Floette has lost a third of its health bar, and the second phase immediately begins with Ange firing off a devastating and potentially fatal Light of Ruin. That's when Zygarde comes down to meet you, and all you have to do is go underneath the legendary's protective shield to prevent from fainting. The second phase was pretty much the same as the first, as once I took off 80% of the red flower's health bar, I Mega Evolved Lucario for a second time, before finishing off the red flower with an Aura Sphere. I now went after the blue flower, which puts up a misty force field that does damage over time if you're in it for too long. And once I started chipping away at the blue flower's HP long enough, Ange fires off Light of Ruin a second time. And once I was done hiding underneath the sanctuary of Zygarde's shield, Lucario had more than enough firepower to finish off Phase 2 by knocking out the blue flower with a second Aura Sphere. This gives the cue for Zygarde to deliver another attack, this time attacking from above with 1,000 arrows that drop Ange Floette to under half of its health bar. Once the third phase starts, the misty barrier put up by the blue flower grows wider, and the red flower fires off a Hyper Beam-like maneuver that does passive damage, but it's easily avoidable. So once again, I kept chipping away with Lucario at the red flower first. And once the red flower was low enough, I had Lucario fire off a flash cannon to permanently put down the red flower. The large health bar of Hyper Rogue Ange Floette has now been reduced to a quarter remaining, and only the blue flower is left. Once I did enough damage to the blue flower, after Mega Evolving Lucario for a 4th time, Ange Floette shot off another Light of Ruin into the sky. But Zygarde was not going to let me falter with me being this close to the finish line. The main thing I needed to do now was dodge the attacks of the blue flower to avoid from blacking out, as Lucario seals the deal with one final Dragon Pulse. Zygarde is officially ready to take over from here, as its strongest dragon attack, Core Enforcer, is about to be unleashed. We have put a halt to Ange Floette's rampage, and now I can breathe with Team MZ. Thanks to the combined efforts of the four of us, plus the top trainers in Lumiose City and Quasarticle Incorporated, along with the legendary Zygarde, we have saved Lumiose City. However, something unsettling was about to happen. As Ange Floette has gained a second wind, it's now aiming towards the heavens, ready to shoot one final light of ruin. There is still one item in my satchel that's starting to glow, so I gripped tightly that pebble that Zygarde gave me as it turned into the Zygardeite Stone, which means Zygarde can now Mega Evolve. Once Lumiose City was completely secured, we freed AZ from 3,000 years of suffering. And as the days passed on after those events, I visited Lumiose Museum to take a look at the replica Mega Lucario statue from the Tower of Mastery in Chaleur City. And that is how I managed to defeat all of Pokemon Legends ZA using only Lucario. This solo challenge took me 21 hours and 45 minutes of gameplay to complete. And I hope you thoroughly enjoyed every second of it as much as I did playing through it. To all of you who took the time out and wanting to view this from the beginning to the end and enjoyed the experience along with me, I sincerely thank you. If you love content like this, be sure to leave a like, and if you are a newcomer, please consider subscribing to the channel, because every subscription tells me that I'm doing something right, and will further inspire me to want to make even more gaming content. See you on the next one. And as always, take care, God bless you all, and keep on shining.